Oh, hold on. Whoa, what's up, mano? Okay, that's better. Like
Hey.
Hola.
We're still in the EPT.
APT, baby.
Quite beautiful tonight. It's actually super gorgeous. And we're called to talk about what,
Well, one of the things that you brought up, we were talking about a bunch of stuff because just musing, that's what we like to do sometimes. Yeah. And you brought up something that I often consider and bring my awareness to, excuse me, which is stories. Does that make sense what that is, do you think?
Yeah.
Like what, so like a story, like what you tell, the words and the language that you use to describe and share about your life or your situation.
Or how you approach things, or how you relate to others, and how it's very much instilled in us to tell a story a certain way. So, for instance, when I was 3 years old, I was selected, 3 or 4 years old, I was selected to perform for Easter, Mother's Day at my church in Chicago. And
probably because you're a superstar.
Probably.
That's the story I'm going to tell.
And I went up, and it was a group of kids with me and the teacher holding our hands, and I did my performance backwards with my back to the audience. And from then on, the story my mother always told, and maybe my whole family, was that Erica's shy. And
shy story.
Obviously, I'm not shy, because then we wouldn't be on here. And it was always so. It was a contrast for me to like exist in the world after a certain age, because I was just like, anytime we would be around somebody with my family or with my parents, my mama would say, "Oh, she's shy. Like, she's just shy. She's not gonna talk to you," and that would turn me off. But then I went off to college, and I was so not shy. So these are the things that we are conditioned to believe and experience from really young ages, and they can be created really quickly, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, you can have 3 bad relationships in a row, and just, all of a sudden
she chooses bad men if she just loved herself enough. And then that's created and like told by your friends, by your family, by yourself. When it's like, no. Why does it have to be about somebody being good or bad?
Yeah. And
like,
yeah.
Anyways, relationships can last for a season. And I don't. Whoa! Look at that amazing construction cone right there. Boom.
We're gonna cross the street. Look both ways, guys. All these cars.
Hello.
Watch out. Watch out. Watch out.
Anyway, back to the example about, just stories that are created about you in your experience. And we were talking about good or bad.
Oh yeah.
And
duality.
Yeah, and polarity. And I truly believe that people are not bad.
No.
Anyway, sometimes our behavior, the choices we make, could have been different.
Don't step on the poopsies.
And thank you, protection.
Over here.
Poopsies on your shoe, that's bad. Just kidding. That's stinky. Anyway.
Example of this. Somebody I don't know. Okay, so I have like kids, right? People who are under the age of 30 who come and ask me questions, and I don't. Anyway, so this one,
They connect with you.
they connect.
Poopsies.
21-year-old. She asked me for my advice about doing something, and she said my mom would think that would be bad. And I said to her, well, it's your existence, it's your life. It was something like going out to meet her friend, and in her mom's mind that would be bad because of what's going on, and in her mind it was not bad. And so she had to make the decision. You want to go sit over here?
You can go sit. We could also just walk through an area that's not
rocky.
less.
Okay. Yeah, so she made the decision to go out with her friend, and that was the end of it. Like, mom didn't have to know. So that's an example of good versus bad. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent.
Yes. Erica.
What? Do you want to go sit down on this rock?
Let's go sit down on this rock over here.
What do you think about story? You're very good. See, you're quite conscientious.
Where's the rock you want to sit on?
What was that one? But it got smaller as we got closer.
These rocks look like they're smaller than my butt.
Okay, we're gonna go over here.
We can just stand. Oh, so beautiful. Story. Okay, so good. I'm not good. Okay, what I have put more energy and attention and awareness towards is noticing the stories I tell. So, even like, gosh, what's coming up for me is like I'm a morning person, which isn't really even a story that I would want to tell. What's an example?
You were telling one earlier. I mean, you say you point them out all the time.
I do. Oh, my story was actually around shyness also.
Okay.
So we were sitting around the dinner or the table having some food, and people were speaking Spanish, and they asked me, do you understand? And I was like, I understand most of what is going on. I can understand it, and I'm too shy to speak it. And then I stopped myself, and I was like, that's a story.
It is a story,
you know?
because she speaks Spanish all the time to lots of people.
Yeah, and like if that's what I'm telling myself, then sure, I'm gonna feel shy, right? So like even if I feel that, I don't have to honor it by like telling it over and over and over again, right? Like sure, you may feel a certain way, and you don't have to create that into what you live into. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. That's exactly what this. Yeah. And it's story for the most seemingly benign thing, like shyness, or
even like you have a dog that barks too much. You know, like if you just keep telling that story over and over again, like this is the energy you're putting out, and like
Yeah, I have one about my daughter that she doesn't sleep. But if you count up the hours that she sleeps, the girl sleeps probably more than most 22-month-olds. And that once you start, the interesting thing is that what you focus on expands, right? And so when baby girl was really young, I spent a lot of time scouring the internet, reading lots of blogs, almost spending thousands of dollars hiring somebody to come help me sleep train her. And because I kept focusing on it, and every time that I wasn't asleep, it was in the middle of the night because she was up, or because I couldn't sleep, or for whatever reason, I would go on the internet and I would look it up, and that would just continue to perpetuate that same story for months and months and months and months and months. And it happened, and it's a collective story too, because there's like a $1 billion industry behind baby infant sleeping, right?
Fear-based too, that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's us being in this vibration of fear, and then it's collective because it's collective within society, but then if you're telling that story, and then you're telling that story to your friends, and then you're telling that story, so it like literally expands, right? To your family, and then it's like that's the story that's talked about around the table, right? And it's not to say like, ooh, it's 8 o'clock, and when it's 8 p.m., you howl. Oh!
And it's almost a full moon, so we could actually
And I guess, I don't want to be like dismiss, your feelings or fear. Like, yeah, I'm not saying yeah, let that come up and come through you, and then choose a powerful way to share it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
yeah,
an empowering way to share it. That's really, yeah. Because you get to choose. Again, it goes back to choice. You get to choose, and to be
empowered rather than a victim, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because if it doesn't serve you, if it just creates more dissonance, it creates more chaos within you when you're telling the story, it's time to change it. Yeah. That is my opinion.
Yeah, to just let it go.
Yeah.
Free it.
And can you imagine if you didn't have any stories? If you just wandered the world like a baby? Like a Micah Bean?
Yeah, right.
She has no stories except the ones that we tell her and that we tell about her.
Mm-hmm.
But she just wanders around with complete abandon for everything and just follows her curiosity.
And her bliss.
And her bliss.
Yeah.
And her joy. And her fatigue.
Yeah.
She sleeps. She sleeps. She sleeps.
She sleeps.
Yeah. So, any tools that you would recommend?
Yeah. To me, the first step of it, or what I remember to ground myself with, is just really listening to myself and giving myself the opportunity to pause if I notice this isn't the story I want about me or about this situation, or so even just if you're noticing it doesn't feel good, to give yourself the opportunity to pause.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can stop the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can just drop
in
it.
an instant.
And you can also choose to reframe it if you want.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's just you can just stop.
Yeah.
You don't have to. And if people ask you questions or whatever, it's okay to just be I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell this story anymore. I'm not going to tell the story of whatever it is that you're the person who dates the losers, which is not a nice term. Anyways, or
the guys that are
emotionally unavailable men.
unavailable.
She's always attracting emotionally unavailable men. It's also because it's the lens you're seeing the world through too, right? So you're looking for that, right? So if you're telling a story about emotionally available men, for example, you're looking through that lens and you have that expectation, and so however they show up to you is going to show up as emotionally unavailable.
Mm-hmm.
Or codependent, or all these unhealthy behaviors that we're supposed to be on the lookout for.
Yeah.
And it's
and they're just human beings just like us, and everybody is processing through this humanness.
Mm-hmm. And we all have been programmed in some ways,
Yes.
right? We all have. It doesn't.
If we're over the age of 2,
yeah,
we've been programmed.
Yeah.
And conditioned.
And so
and told stories.
Right, and have grace with yourself to notice what maybe your stories are, and then to play with stopping it, changing it. What story do you want? And you get to have it.
Yeah.
And it can be a process, or it can happen like that.
Yeah. Right now, things are happening
So
fast. The veil is so thin between 3D and 5D.
So awesome.
That it's within an instant you can say, I am a Viking.
You're gonna be a Viking? That's amazing.
I know. You see me on the top? No, just kidding. Yeah, it's fast. I am
Super
healed.
fast.
Tomorrow,
Yeah.
20 minutes. Yeah, it's just a shift. Again, miracles are just a shift in perception. Yeah.
And expect them.
Why not?
I mean, exactly. Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Is it Einstein? I don't know. I don't know who said it. But it's that you can look at life that nothing is a miracle, or you can look at life as that everything is a miracle. And I choose the latter. Cool? Adios.
Ciao, 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 ciao. We love you.